Step 11. Stringing the wings. 1. Hold wings open with two small rods wedged between them and the body, such that the open position is about 1 cm past the relaxed position. Rubber bellows are under enough tension to pull wings in. Whistle sounds when released from this position. Rods wedged between wing and body. So cut the rods to fit, so there's just a bit of tension, a bit more than you'd want. So mark the rod and cut. Both rods won't necessarily be exactly the same size, it depends on how the wing ended up. Now step 2, insert sliding rod 39 and hold with locking rings 40. So inserting the sliding rod, it should slide up and down freely. If not, select a slightly thinner toothpick. Now I'm pushing locking rings. Now that toothpick was a bit thin for the locking rings to fit nicely, so I've selected a slightly thicker toothpick, but it still slides freely. Push on those locking rings. And don't push them in so far that the rod doesn't slide nicely. If you need to secure them with super glue because they're too loose, you can, but be careful not to fix the rod into the slot. Rotate the small gear until press pad 5 has pushed the sliding rod to the bottom of the slot and is about to break contact. So you notice the push pad is pushing the rod to the bottom of the slot. If you kept on going, it would break contact in the slot, and the sliding rod could be slid back up, but we want it to hold the rod in that position while we're stringing the wings. 4. Run wing strings through slots in rod 32 and retain with end caps 41. So those wing strings come down and through these slots which we cut in the rod, and we push on an end cap. Don't push the end cap on so far that the string can't slide freely inside the slot. And do the same with the other side. Now I'm going to take those strings and tie an overhand knot of each wing line to the sliding rod beside the locking rings. You can make that knot before we slip it over the toothpick. It makes it a bit easier. And try and get that line nice and tight before you pull the knot tight. Do for each wing. Now fix them with a drop of super glue, being careful not to let the glue bind the rod into the slot. Wait for that to dry, trim the excess line. Now when that's dry, you can trim the ends off that sliding rod as well. Now remove those props holding the wings out and turn the crank to test the tweet. So the sliding rod should get pushed down, disengage with the press pad and spring back, making a tweet. If it's more of a click, you can sand a chamfer on the edge of the press pad so it rolls off the sliding rod a bit more smoothly rather than flicking off, and that can make the tweet sound a bit cleaner. Now troubleshooting. You can make that tweet a bit louder if the wing strings are a bit loose and don't pull the wings out far enough to get enough stroke in your bellows. Then you can tension those strings a bit by taking a toothpick, chopping it in half, pushing the pointy end into one of these holes in the top of the base. And choose a hole such that you add a bit more tension to that string. And you can do it to each side. They might not necessarily be in the same hole. And find enough tension such that the tweet is loud, but it's not too hard to turn the crank handle. Congratulations, you're finished. Now if you have the clock kit, then proceed to the next video showing the motor installation.